All right, here we go. Friday, the new year, coming in less than a couple of hours. Super pumped, super excited. Hopefully 2022 is a lot better than the last 2 years. But it doesn't seem like it will be as of right now. It just seems like anyone that has any amount of wealth or power is just completely out of touch with us common folk, with us peasants, with us good folks just trying to live our lives and do good and stuff. And I don't understand. I don't understand how someone can be so far removed from the happenings of everyday life in this world. It's odd to me. It's scary to me. It's all, you know. You thought this was all for a shot. This is all actually in the name of profits. I mean, we're talking about the next round of vaccines being for 6-month-old and up. You know, the big P company would like to thank all of the taxpayers and all of the governments across the world for forcing this upon people for their record $36 billion in profit last quarter. No big deal. Right? No big deal. And now, New York has votes coming up in January that basically give authority over anyone to be put in a hospital or any other government facility if they are deemed unfit for public safety or health or something. Not authoritarian at all. Am I right? Yeah, this is not good. We've already seen this in Australia, and people are mad. We're seeing this in other European countries, and people are mad. There's civil unrest, and they're basically litmus testing and benchmarking what they can get away with there so that they know how to respond to it here. Because here it's going to be a lot worse. And they know that because we do the things and we have the stuff. And I just really hope that there are military personnel, police officers, those who swore an oath to uphold the duty and the freedom of citizens and our Constitution, you know, since we are a constitutional republic and not really a democracy. And, I hope that they're talking amongst themselves as to what their response is going to be if things go in such a manner that we don't care for. Because the illusion of compliance is crumbling. There are more and more people that I talk to, more and more people that I know of, more and more people that I'm coming in contact with in my daily life that aren't buying this anymore. They're done. You know, and this all stops the moment you stop complying. This ends when you stop. So, like I said in the last video, we're on that cusp, and you're going to have to make that decision. You know, which side of history are you going to be on? It's like the people at the top are so out of touch with reality and with what's going on and with the common folks that they think they can just do this, that they think they can just force people to get inoculated against what basically equates to the common cold or something like that, and they're gonna make all kinds of profit. And maybe they're backing off as part of the narrative because they've made their profit and they've introduced a new form of population control, and so be it. And I don't think that they're that smart, and I really don't think that they realize the gravity of a huge blunt force trauma to the growth in the population right now. They need to change the policies. They need to get into check companies like Monsanto that spray these pesticides that allow crops to basically not breed. I'm not sure of any of these scientific terms, but basically you can't like use the seeds from these seeds that they provide to you to be like self-sufficient. You have to like buy new seeds from them every year because of like the GMOs in them. And it's a lot of land on this earth. There's a lot on this earth, and we just got to find a way to work our policy and change the way that we live our lives to be sustainable. We need to awaken to a new reality. There's no need for a great reset. There needs to be a great awakening. We need to stop overfishing the ocean. We need to stop wasting and living in such a way that is just frivolous and wasteful. We need to live and cultivate environments that encourage a life where everything has a purpose and has meaning. And there needs to be a way through technology for that to happen. I mean, just the company that I'm working at right now has just, and I say company, it's, we're contracted through this company and, whatever. So it's not like the company I work for. It's like a company that's contracted us to do work for them. And so when I say that, that's what I mean. They have basically geared up for a new generation of product, and in order to make this product on the assembly line, they are going to have to hire new workers and train them on the new assembly line. They are throwing out the equipment from the old assembly line and installing new assembly line equipment to make this new product. And a lot of that old equipment could be sold or reused to third world factories or plants or whatever. They could utilize it, or it could just be recycled. But nope, it's going straight into the garbage, into the trash bin. And that is really sad to see. We need to recycle, and we need to make sure things don't go to waste. I think it's ridiculous the amount of food that goes to waste because of the restaurant industry. Now, I'm not bashing the restaurant industry by any means. I think it's not the restaurant industry, it's OSHA that ruined a lot of things because of, you know, the food safety standards and things like that, and how much has to actually be thrown away when it could just be separated and composted, you know what I mean? And so, like, that needs to happen. We need to compost more. We need to fertilize this earth with our waste. And I don't know, you know, I mean, you see, like, Waste Management putting their advertisements out there and how they're, you know, working to be sustainable. And I think, like, part of that is great. Like, they do use part of their waste, and they use it as fuel in a way. I don't know what all that process is, but if we want to see our way out of this mess, we do need to reevaluate the frivolous way that we spend our resources. You know, having money and fiat currency is fantastic, but even if you're on government assistance and you're throwing away portions of, you know, the things that you consume, you're still part of the problem. And what I mean by that is, like, it doesn't matter how poor or how wealthy you are, if you're not doing what little you can to help contribute, then get off your high horse or whatever. And I don't want to sound like some hippie communist or whatever, or some millennial guru guy. I mean, I just see that, you know, we have the ability through technology, through human decency, to change the world for the better for our future generations. And we obviously have the capability to stand up and speak out and fight for medical freedom. You know, a lot of people are tired of this, isht, and they're ready to be done with it and ready to have it over. But meanwhile, there's so much more going on, and we have the ability to save this planet long enough so that we can become an extraplanetary species. I, for one, would love to see us colonize Mars. I think that would be a huge step in, you know, saving humanity and colonizing this little region of the Milky Way. Would be phenomenal. It would be quite amazing if we can overcome and manifest destiny our way into at least being extraplanetary. And I would like to be a boots on the ground person who helps contribute to that. Mars will need not just brilliant scientists and astronauts and engineers. It's going to need people who cook the food, run the wire, put in the plumbing, scrub the toilets, mop the floors, so that other people can do their thing and cultivate gardens and cultivate aquaponic structures and grow the food for those colonists. And Mars is going to be a very interesting place in the beginning, and that could be a whole topic for another video. I think that you know, at first we're going to have to live underground there while we terraform the atmosphere and make it so that we can safely live on the atmosphere. That's going to be interesting, whatever that looks like. But again, maybe a discussion for another day. Comment below if you'd like to hear more about that, or if you have questions about that, or your own ideas on it. But right now, what we need to do is get there. And we won't be able to get there if everyone is a wage slave, is a techno slave, is a hypno slave, because all they want to do is sit on their butt and consume whatever TV shows they have and not better themselves and not contribute. That's that's fine. In a way, freedom of choice and whatnot, but like, I'm not that way. I am not that way. But if there was like a way that we could make sure that we get there, which means we have to fight for this medical freedom, we have to make sure that the system in place, the corrupt people that are so out of touch with what's going on in day-to-day life that makes their worlds run, I mean, they can't be that dumb to know that, like, if they depopulate a certain percentage of the population, that they're not gonna have the things that they have. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they've thought, if they're even that smart. And I hope they're not like that smart. I hope guys like Bill Gates are just doing this because they have so much money and they are like true philanthropists. But Epstein was a philanthropist, so whatever. Take that word for what you will. Philanthropist. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm an outlier or not, but I don't really have much right now to show for it. Normally I have to wash my hands multiple times a day because of all the muck that gets on them at work. What is it they say? Dirty hands, clean money. I was listening to another YouTuber that I like to listen to, and he brought up some stats about millennials not wanting to own houses, and this is something that I was sort of aware of through other reading and things like that. And I mean, it's also like been posited to me, like even when I was looking into purchasing my first house and becoming a homeowner, that like there is like the benefit of renting, in the sense of like, let's like a quick breakdown. A benefit of renting an apartment is it's up to the landlord to upkeep the property, and maintain it, and if anything happens, they have a maintenance person who comes in and fixes it. And also like the ability to be mobile. If you want to move to another city, if you want to move to another part in the same city, if you want to move to another state, if you want to move to another country, etc. If you live in an apartment, pretty easy, whether you live in an apartment or a condo or anywhere that you rent, to kind of just like cut ties. It's a little bit harder to just do that if you own a house, especially if you don't sell it, in the sense of, well, anyway, it could be a little bit messier with a house. But I mean, the flip side is like with a home, you're building equity, and it's a space that you call yours. Blah 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 blah, right? And basically, this was the stats were about half and half, right? Like, well, it was a little bit over half. Something like 53% of us millennials aren't really excited about home ownership because we just aren't confident in our ability to take care of the home, because we don't know jack shit about anything really. And like it is true. I hate to admit it, and I hate to like throw my fellow millennials under the bus, but like I have plenty of friends like this. Like oh man, like they dress up in a suit and they politic their way, and they just sell insurance, man. And like that's definitely not a jab against any of my family who does that. Like they're great people, or my friend who I'm thinking about, like they're great people and they're really fun to hang out with and have conversations with, but there's not a lot of depth in those conversations. But because it generally goes about like sports level deep, you know, and like that's about it. I don't understand. I don't know. I have thoughts on that kind of arch standard deviation bell curve mentality as well, which goes for like people who you interact with. Oh gosh, if I can stay on target, if I can stay on track. Basically, like it kind of applies for dating. Like if you meet a girl and she didn't grow up with like a high value father or someone in their life, whether it be like a coach, a male coach, or uncle or someone like that who was very like on it and like had good attributes and good everything from like time, from like scheduling and their career and the way that they treated people and gentlemanly like, and you know, all the traits that would constitute like a high value male, like, you know, works out or is active in some manner. And if she's never been exposed to that on a consistent basis as she grew up, she'll never really like recognize one if she meets you on an initial basis, because she lacks the depth to comprehend the nuance from like the first impression type first date situation. Now, using that same metaphor goes for people as well. There are many people out there who have never challenged themselves past basic conversational skills. They've never challenged themselves past a certain level of education. They've never, you know, interacted with people who push them intellectually in such a manner to make them better, because they want to be better people, like from their inside, like their will is to be better, and so they butt heads with people intentionally so that they can get different points of view and expand their points of view and have an open-minded and open-ended conversation and not be judgmental, etc. So with those metaphors, like there are people like that just you don't quite understand. They don't know from the nuance that they're dealing with somebody who could potentially better themselves. You know, always assume the person that you're talking to knows something that you don't, or knows more than you. Whether they do or not doesn't matter. If you just act like they're smarter than you and treat them like they are, good things will happen. And I can promise you that it's true. Like, some of the people that I interact with or have interacted with in the past who I am like, oh my gosh, this is mean, but like, when you're like, oh my gosh, like, how have you bred? And even though, like, you treat them with respect, and you treat them as if they are smarter than you, and you treat them in such a manner that they know something you don't, you often will learn things. And that's the key here. That's a good little rule of life. But what I'm saying is, you know, like they just have these jobs where it's like they just push insurance, and They make a lot of money. They make probably 2.5 times what I make. I don't know what they're doing with it, but I do know that they're a little bit more frivolous with it, because they don't have any responsibility over it. Everything just kind of comes and goes, and if something were to happen, even if they own a home, they're just going to call somebody to come in and fix it for them, and they're going to pay crazy amounts of money to do it. Like right now, I mean, even doing what I do on a side, once or twice a month, I'm making $50 an hour doing that, and that's being paid by somebody who is making more than that just for like an 8-hour block alone. Someone who's making $1,000 an hour for that 8-hour block. So there are people out there who lack basic skills, and that's like why we see the world in such a state that it's in, and why millennials are so scared to go out and get a house, because they can't freaking afford to pay some kind of cost like that if something goes wrong, because they're too scared and snowflakey to fucking get their hands dirty and get calluses and try to actually learn something. Was it fun putting in a new outlet under my staircase because in the code you don't have to have an outlet under a staircase, but it was the perfect location for an outlet? No, it's not code. So when they renovated it and sold it to us, there wasn't one of those. But I wanted one there, so I put it in. And let's see, what else? Like gardening, like learning to garden. I'm not particularly a guy who looks like I should, be gardening. But there's like a peace of mind and a sense of accomplishment and kind of like a sense of, I don't know, it's just like a good feeling about it, and at least trying it. We got a couple of tomatoes this year. We let the eggplant go for too long. We didn't harvest it quite soon enough. We got a green pepper, one singular green pepper, plenty of cucumbers, and we tried. We got the herbs. Herbs are easy. Trying for a blackberry bush. I don't know if those are supposed to die off like this dude died off this winter. Hopefully he comes back. I don't know. And we got some seeds that we're gonna start. I got an aquaponics system going, and like none of this is easy. Like I'm telling you, I would rather be playing Mass Effect again, playing my PlayStation 4, Bloodborne. Right now, playing Red Dead 2. Barely. I mean, I have like 8% completed, and I got it on Christmas, and so barely making waves. I miss those days when I was a teenager and I didn't have bills and I didn't have responsibilities or obligations, and all I had to do was go to school and get my homework done, and then I came home and I played video games for hours and hours and hours. And I got fat, and I had a standard American diet, and girls didn't look at me, and I was unattractive in my head because I had a negative self-image and no self-esteem. And I mean, I look back still, like even then I look back on that fondly, because at least I was playing these like awesome video games and escaping to these worlds. But it's a lot better now in real life to experience, I guess, the fruits of my labor, if you want to call it that. It's really nice to turn heads because I work so hard to lose weight. It's really nice to be able to say, oh, next summer, maybe we'll try pickling some of those cucumbers we grew. Or, like now we're going to try to grow kale and spinach in the aquaponics system. Maybe we'll be able to put some of those tomatoes to better use instead of letting them go bad. I'm not particularly a fan of tomatoes, or maybe trying to figure out a way to make ketchup. I don't know. I don't know how to make ketchup. There's got to be some kind of way to do it at home. It may not be as good as the salty, sugary ketchup you get from the supermarket, but it might still be good to spice up the potatoes that maybe we'll eventually try growing. I mean, there's a lot that I'm ongoing learning, and I never would have had this spark if it hadn't have been for home ownership. And too many millennials, like more than half it seems, are too flippin' scared to take any kind of risks. And that's one of the reasons that they're struggling financially, is because they are too, like, they can't stand up for themselves and their jobs, and they're just blah blah blah. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a guy who I have 1.5 times my annual salary invested and saved up, which I achieved in a little over a year and a half. So literally I've like matched my salary in a year and a half by taking risks in the stock market and in cryptocurrency. And there are people who have taken risks and made even more money than that. I've done that relatively, stably, in the sense of like, yeah, okay, like I've lost a couple of $1,000. I've lost $3,000 or $4,000 sometimes in a month. But I've also made $18,000, right? So, and that's not even talking about the other accounts that I don't even look at, that I put money into each month. So there's risks that need to be taken, and I never would have the company, my LLC, I never would have had that if I didn't take a risk. And I never would have taken those risks if I didn't have the confidence. And I would never have had that confidence if I didn't do something hard and start trying to lose weight. And that's kind of where all of this started. In fact, a lot of it started from playing a game called Mass Effect. That is a game that is near and dear to my heart. It's a true trilogy. I think everything that's ever been good in this world has been a trilogy. Like Star Wars was, now it's ruined. Lord of the Rings is, and is amazing still. Harry Potter probably couldn't have been. John Scalzi and Old Man's War, the trilogy. Trilogies, the rule of threes, Tesla and his nines. Think about that. But Mass Effect gave me this hero's journey, hero's confidence of wanting to be better. And it gave me the confidence to kind of like talk to girls, because you can romance people in that game. And then wanting to talk to girls meant I was like, well, what are I started looking around, what are other successful guys doing? Well, other guys who have luck with girls look good, and they're not fat like I am. And then that led me down a decade-long journey of learning health and fitness and diet and exercise. And no, I'm not in the shape that I used to be, but I eat healthier than I ever used to eat consistently, and I like it. I like kale. It tastes delicious. I love spinach on my sandwiches. Yes, like, give me the keto breakfast option over what the milk and cereal, sugary, whatever. Like, there's such a better way to live life than so many people are. I mean, I look at people I work with who are so just like triple my size, and I weigh 240 pounds. and they are constantly, every day, they have like this cycle. They get like these like snacks from the vending machine. Like, that's not even food, man. That's like sugar and preservatives. You're just gonna put that in your body? Like, why not like wait until you're like sufficiently hungry and cook yourself a nice meal of like eggs and greens, or like a nice like grass-fed burger on a bed of greens. Anywho, what I'm getting at is, don't be a snowflake. Get your hands dirty. Take a risk. And find something more fun and exciting to do than sit around and play video games all the time. And be a good parent to your kids and stuff. And like, just like be an overall like good person, and like teach them common, I don't know, man. Like, I was like out at Walmart. Of course, like Walmart, like, you can't like expect like a high quality person to be there, but on a consistent basis anyway. I mean, the ones that are high quality, you don't know are even there, because you don't have the kind of standout run-in with those people, because they're gonna either, you know, get out of your way, or not be blaring their music on their phone, or they're not gonna be letting their 5-year-old watch a Minecraft YouTube video at full blast. That's very annoying. That's like, oh my gosh. Like, teach your kid about headphones, lady. Pay attention to them. Oh man, that's just gonna get me started down a whole rabbit hole. An entire rabbit hole of like Kevin Samuels style red pill bullshit, where, you know, single mothers, excuse me, and, you know, fatherless households. And I mean, that is a real pandemic. If you want to talk about pandemics, man, that's a nice house. There's some nice houses out here in the country. And then there's some cute ones like this that's abandoned. I just want to go in. I just want to buy it so bad. It's like all stone, needs a new roof. I just want to fix it up and have a little cottage. And I don't know. I feel bad. Like, I feel like one of those stereotypical cliche, like I was born into the wrong generation. And I'm not like waxing nostalgic. Like, I definitely feel like, you know, growing up in the 80s would have been like kind of nice, but like, I'm not knocking like growing up in the 90s. I mean, I can't be like one of those people who, I don't know, but like, I'm definitely glad that I wasn't born now or 10 years ago or whatever. Like, it would be so weird to like have grown up with social media. I grew up like when it came out. I was in high school when MySpace was popular. And I don't know. But the tech giants are winning, man. The technocrats, they want you to be scared and afraid of the big bad world. And they want you to stay inside and consume and have things delivered to your door. And they want you to put on the headset and go live in an alternate reality. They don't want... Why are you going so fast on a 35-mile-an-hour road? You're gonna ride my butt and I'm turning soon anyway. I don't know what to say about it, because it's just so... It is scary to see, but it's also comforting to know in a way that I am doing everything I can right now to develop a certain skill set to where I won't have to worry about that. And you should too. And you need to take a risk and do something fun and do something new and exciting that sparks sparks a new wave of inspiration in your life. So I'm going to go inside now and enjoy my New Year's Eve and get some stuff done and work on the aquaponics tank. So we'll see you Sunday, maybe Monday for sure. Peace out for now. Bye.